In the heart of many fiction stories, the concept of a final resistance, filled with despair and bravery, whether by an individual or a collective, gives life to the most passionate and epic moments. These sequences unfold in scenarios where the protagonists are forced to face monumental adversities, confronting enemies of colossal power, overwhelmingly outnumbered, with their resources dwindling, and opposing seemingly invincible villains. These moments of ultimate resistance are etched in the audience's memory, keeping it in palpable tension because these scenarios are masterfully constructed to reveal little to no hope for a favorable outcome, but are, without a doubt, legendary. The most memorable final resistances in fiction not only challenges the heroes with impossible odds, but also incorporates a crucial moment of profound personal sacrifice. In these confrontations, the characters or the protagonist often make a noble sacrifice to ensure their own survival or that of their companions, marking the scene not only as heroic but unforgettable. With that in mind, welcome to the top 7 most epic final stands in fiction, where the bravery, sacrifice, and indomitable resolution of the characters will take you through an unforgettable emotional journey, celebrating the unbreakable spirit of heroism in its purest and most moving forms. Number 7. Spoon, Dog Soldiers. In the werewolf genre, soldier Reese Witherspoon, affectionately known as Spoon, stands out for his unparalleled bravery. A member of Harry Wells' squad, Spoon finds himself in the Scottish Highlands for what initially seems to be a training exercise. From the beginning, Spoon's forgetful nature is highlighted when he leaves his watch at the base, a mistake that leads the sergeant to lend him his own. Their mission takes a turn towards horror when they stumble upon the mutilated remains of a cow, which leads them to discover a decimated special operations camp and the imminent threat of werewolves. With the fall of night, Spoon and his squad face a terrifying siege by these beasts, seeking refuge in an abandoned cabin. Despite their desperate situation, Spoon's humor and bravery shine. He plays a crucial role in the survival of his companions, warding off the werewolves with a flair to buy time. However, his courage is definitively tested when he faces off against a werewolf in hand-to-hand combat. Using his boxing skills and any kitchen utensil he can find, Spoon fights bravely, but is ultimately overpowered by the werewolf. The character of Spoon is a mix of humor, bravery, and a touch of recklessness. His ability to joke, even in the face of danger, and his final act of defiance against the werewolves encapsulate his intrepid spirit. His last stand, marked by his bold challenge and the moving discovery of his remains by his comrades, highlights the depth of his bravery and the tragic heroism that defines his character in the face of overwhelming adversities. Number 6. Eddie Munson, Stranger Things. Eddie Munson is a central character in Season 4 of Stranger Things, emerging as an unlikely hero through his journey, marked by his sacrifice and deep connections with other characters. Initially introduced as a rebellious metalhead and leader of the Hellfire Club, Eddie's character depth is revealed through his interactions and actions as the story progresses. Eddie's adventure reached its climax during a chilling encounter in the Upside Down, where he played a key role in the battle against Vecna's forces to protect Hawkins. Despite his fears and doubts about himself, Eddie's courage shone brightly in his final moments. Facing a swarm of demobats, he chose to draw them away from his friends with an epic guitar solo, sacrificing his safety for theirs. His decision to stand firm against the demobats, knowing it would likely lead to his death, marked a significant transformation from someone who previously struggled with feelings of belonging and the desire to flee from his problems. Eddie's final sacrifice was not just a moment of personal heroism. It was a profound act of love and responsibility towards the town of Hawkins and his friends, particularly towards Dustin. As Eddie lay dying, his last words with Dustin highlighted his genuine affection and concern for his friends, entrusting Dustin with the care of the Hellfire Club and expressing his love. This emotional farewell underscored Eddie's transformation and the depth of his character. Tragically, Eddie's heroic actions were not recognized by the inhabitants of Hawkins, who continued to view him through a lens of misunderstanding and prejudice. Despite this, his legacy lived on among those who knew him best, particularly through Dustin, who made sure that Eddie's uncle, Wayne Munson, knew of his nephew's bravery. Number 5. Boromir, the Lord of the Rings. Boromir was the eldest son of Denethor II and Finduilas and heir to the stewardship of Gondor. Following the death of his mother when he was 10 years old, he became especially close to his younger brother Faramir, despite his father's favoritism towards him. Boromir was a dedicated leader who participated in the battle for Osgiliath in the year 3018 of the Third Age, where he and a few survivors had to swim to safety after an almost fatal confrontation. He lost his horse in Tharbad and arrived on foot at the Council of Elrond after a 110-day journey, advocating for the One Ring to be brought to Gondor for safekeeping, which was ultimately rejected in favor of its destruction. Joining the Fellowship of the Ring, Boromir was advised by Elrond to use the Horn of Gondor only in case of extreme need. Despite his prowess as a warrior, Boromir struggles with the decision to destroy the One Ring, eventually trying to take it from Frodo, leading to his remorse after realizing his mistake. His attempt to protect Merry and Pippin from the Uruk-hai ended in a mortal wound and eventual death, a loss deeply mourned by many, especially in Gondor. His death marked a significant moment, showcasing his bravery, but also the tragic vulnerability to the corruption of the One Ring. Despite his flaws, Boromir was esteemed for his courage and steadfastness, though his desire to protect Gondor made him susceptible to the influence of the Ring, a decision he immediately regretted. Boromir earned respect even from his enemies. In the movie The Two Towers, Ugluk boasts that it was the Uruk-hai who killed the mighty warrior, a clear reference to Boromir. Number 4. XMen, Days of Future Past. X-Men Days of Future Past presents a darker plot than previous films, with a message of sacrifice, unity, and the relentless fight for survival that defines the essence of the X-Men. In a dystopian 2023, the X-Men face their most severe challenge to date, a relentless assault by the Sentinels, robots designed to exterminate mutants and any of their human allies. The story fluidly intertwines two critical periods, showcasing the definitive ensemble of X-Men from both the original trilogy and first generation in a desperate attempt to change a crucial historical event and safeguard the future of their species. The climax of the film is a testament to the indomitable spirit of the X-Men and their willingness to sacrifice everything for the good of their race. As the Sentinels launch a devastating attack against the monastery, the X-Men unite in defense of their refuge and future. Characters like Storm, Bishop, Warpath, Sunspot, Colossus, Blink, and Iceman exhibit unparalleled bravery, giving their lives in a harrowing battle that demonstrates the enormity of their sacrifice. Magneto, despite his past history with the X-Men, also joins them, suffering severe wounds in his efforts to protect his fellow mutants. These sacrifices are made multiple times to ensure Kitty Pryde can project Bishop's consciousness into the past, avoiding their immediate doom and giving them a chance to fight and thus alter the present. The story deepens further when Wolverine is sent back to 1973 to prevent the assassination of Bolivar Trask, the designer of the Sentinels, at the hands of Mystique. This mission is not just a fight against time and fate, but also an internal battle for the characters, particularly Charles, who must reconcile his despondency and regain his faith in the mutant cause. The resolution of the film in 1973, where Mystique's decision to spare Trask alters the timeline, erasing the grim future, is a powerful demonstration of the impact of choice and the potential for redemption. It is this crucial moment, facilitated by the sacrifices of countless mutants, that ensures the survival of the X-Men and offers a glimpse of a hopeful future. Number 3. King Varian Wrynn, World of Warcraft. Many of you may be wondering who this character is. Varian Wrynn is a central figure in the universe of World of Warcraft, a computer and role-playing game created by Blizzard, known for his complex journey from a young prince to becoming the King of Stormwind and ultimately a hero of Azeroth. His story is marked by tragedy, struggle, and resilience, culminating in a significant sacrifice during the events of the Legion expansion. Varian's early life was filled with hardships, including the death of his father, King Wrynn, and his own kidnapping. These events shaped him into a skilled warrior and a just ruler, deeply committed to the safety of his people and the Alliance. His reign faced many challenges, including wars against the Horde, the Lich King, and the cataclysmic return of Deathwing. The climax of Varian's story comes with the Burning Legion's invasion, a pivotal moment in the Warcraft lore. As the Legion of Demons launched a massive assault on Azeroth, Varian led the united forces of the Alliance and the Horde to confront this existential threat. The battle against the Legion showcased Varian's leadership, bravery, and tactical genius. This character's sacrifice occurs during the battle for the Broken Shore, the initial confrontation against the Legion. In a moment of selfless heroism, he chooses to stay behind to ensure the retreat of the Alliance forces, facing the enemy alone. His final act is to destroy a giant demonic machine to allow his allies to escape, well aware that this would result in his death at the hands of the Orc warlock Gul'dan. This act not only saves many lives, but also serves as an act of valor and inspiration for the people of Azeroth to unite in the fight against the Legion. Despite the successful escape of his allies, Varian's death has profound repercussions. He leaves a void in the leadership of the Alliance and deeply affects his son Anduin, who must step forward to fill his father's shoes. Varian's heroism embodies the themes of leadership, sacrifice, and unity that are central to the Warcraft story, highlighting his evolution from a warrior king to a martyr who gave his life for the greater good of Azeroth. Number 2. Leonidas, 300.
This is Sparta!
300 is a cinematic reinterpretation of the historic Battle of Thermopylae, centered on King Leonidas of Sparta, who, from a young age, was molded into a warrior king through the rigorous training of the Agoge. This education system, which emphasized combat preparation and survival skills, culminated in Leonidas' solo confrontation with a wolf, a symbolic victory that secured his path to the throne. As king, Leonidas faced a monumental challenge when an emissary from Xerxes, the Persian emperor, arrived in Sparta demanding submission. Leonidas' response was definitive and symbolic, as he executed the emissary and his entourage, demonstrating Sparta's refusal to submit to Persia. Though the Ephors, religious leaders of Sparta, rejected him due to corruption and supposed religious festivals, Leonidas decided to face the Persians directly. With 300 of his best soldiers, a figure dictated by Sparta's legal restrictions more than by strategic choice, Leonidas marched to the hot gates of Thermopylae. This narrow pass would become the stage for one of the most famous last stands in history. The Spartans, renowned for their military discipline and prowess, were joined by a small contingent of allies, including the Arcadians, who were impressed by the Spartans' skill but lacked their rigorous training. The story of 300 emphasizes the strategic and heroic defense mounted by Leonidas and his men against the overwhelming Persian forces. They exploit the terrain to neutralize the numerical advantage of their enemy, inflicting heavy casualties and withstanding several waves of attacks, including those by the elite immortals. Xerxes, portrayed as fascinated and frustrated by the Spartans' resilience, attempts to bribe Leonidas with power and riches, but the Spartan king's commitment to freedom and the values of his city-state is unbreakable. The Spartans' efforts are ultimately thwarted by betrayal from within, as Ephialtes, a Spartan outcast, reveals a hidden path to the Persians. Faced with encirclement, Leonidas and his men choose to fight to the death, securing their place in history not through victory, but through their sacrifice, which becomes a rallying cry for all of Greece. Leonidas' final act of defiance, an attempt to wound Xerxes with a spear, symbolizes Spartan resolution against subjugation. Though the 300 Spartans fall, their sacrifice is immortalized by Dilios, a survivor tasked by Leonidas with spreading their story. The film concludes with a larger Greek force, inspired by the sacrifice at Thermopylae, preparing to face the Persians, demonstrating the enduring impact of Leonidas and his 300 Spartans on Greek collective resistance. 300 blends historical elements with dramatic narrative to highlight themes of freedom, sacrifice, and the enduring legacy of Leonidas' stand against tyranny, portraying him not just as a king, but as a symbol of defiance against overwhelming odds. Number 1. Captain Mifune, Matrix Revolutions. Captain Mifune is the leader of Zion's armored personnel unit in Matrix Revolutions, playing a crucial role in the defense of Zion against the machines. From the beginning, he demonstrates his dedication to duty and his ability to lead, even in tense situations, such as when escorting Morpheus to Jason Locke, emphasizing his disposition to diplomacy over conflict. His relationship with the young recruit, known as the Kid, reflects his evolution from a strict leader to one who recognizes value and courage regardless of age. Despite his initial reservations, Mifune allows the Kid to join the fight, showing the harsh reality of their situation. The machines do not discriminate by age. During the final battle at the Zion dock, Mifune inspires his troops with words of defiance and courage, preparing them for what could be their last fight. His determination is clearly manifested when, even as one of the last standing, he continues to fight fiercely, determined to inflict as much damage as possible before falling. Mifune's sacrifice reaches its climax when, gravely wounded and overwhelmed by the Sentinels, he uses his last moments to ensure the success of the collective mission. He instructs the Kid to open the gate for the Mjolnir, an act that demonstrates his unwavering commitment to Zion until the end. His death is not in vain, as his disciple, inspired by Mifune's example, manages to fulfill his last wish, paving the way for the Mjolnir to enter and support Zion's defense. Mifune's legacy is that of a warrior who, faced with imminent defeat, chooses to fight with everything he has, leaving a lasting impact not only on the outcome of the battle, but also on those he inspired with his bravery and sacrifice. His final affirmation, "I also didn't finish training," serves as a powerful reminder that courage and determination can overcome a lack of preparation, echoing the human resistance against adversity. Hey, don't go just yet. If you enjoyed my video, I'd love to recommend another one for you to watch.